Hey everyone, this is Rohit and I hope you all are doing great. Now in this video, we're going to take a look at the brand new EW300 from Simgot. And apparently I've been sent both the 3.5mm analog version along with the DSP version. And I want to thank Simgot and Concept Card for sending these out to me for a review. Now these guys, the EW300s, are supposed to be an update to Simgot's hugely popular EW200, an IEM that I absolutely adore and recommend to a lot of people even today. But these guys have quite the price bump right now. So it's $69.99 for the base 3.5mm analog version and $10 more for the DSP version. There's also another version made in collaboration with the famous IEM reviewer HBB, and that is around $75.99 if I'm not wrong. But that is beyond the scope of this video for today at least. So from the articles that I could find online regarding the EW300, Simgot has supposedly introduced a couple of new changes with this update. So first of all, these guys are now hybrids. So gone are the days where you just get a single dynamic driver per side. These guys now come with 3 drivers per side. So there's a piezoelectric driver, there's a microplanar driver, in addition to an enhanced and improved dynamic driver. And the second thing is the fact that these guys are supposed to come with a new tuning, which some audiophiles claim to be a more mature sound signature, all in the sake for improving the sound quality. But these guys are much more expensive right now, and they fall under the category where there's a lot of heavy hitters from a number of companies, one of them being from Simgot themselves, the EA500LM. So how do these hold up? How do these guys sound? And is this something that I can recommend to a lot of people? That's what we'll find out in today's video. So let's get started and unbox these bad boys. Alright, so let me try doing a side-by-side unboxing for you guys. It's my first time doing this, so a thumbs up is definitely appreciated. Now I really love unboxing Simgot's IEMs. There's something special about their packaging and layout that I find super aesthetic and enjoyable. Everything from the way these shells are laid out in foam to the way you have these little boxes denoting what they have inside is just beautiful. So as you can see, the box contents are pretty similar in both these variants, with the only exception of the cable and the fit and finish of the shells. Now both these variants are of course built out of metal. They're pretty solid and have a slight heft to them, but like everybody else, I also prefer the shells of the DSP version. These have a much more premium feeling thanks to that matte black paint job and kind of feels like powder coating to be honest. And if I'm not entirely wrong, these are the same shell designs that comes with the HBB version. Of course, the tuning is also different. Also, these shells are pretty small and quite easy to put inside your ears. These have a design that is pretty similar to that of the EW200, so ergonomically they are quite perfect to the point that you sometimes forget that you're actually wearing these IEMs. Now speaking of the cables, I'm gonna say the quality of the DSP cable is at best a B+. Just look at the analog cable for example. This is the same cable that you get with the EA500LM and it feels much more premium and sturdy. The DSP cable on the other hand, not so much. Now, of course, you can't deny the fact that the build materials in these cables are quite high quality, so silver-coated, oxygen-free copper cables in both these cases. But during my time of using these IEMs, I just wish Simgot could provide us with a much more softer DSP cable, considering the premium that they're charging for with their DSP version. But keeping aside the cable qualities for the time being, this L-shaped Type-C connector feels pretty unique to me. And I think this is ergonomically perfect for gaming on your phones. Because spoiler alert, the EW300s are actually pretty good in that aspect. Also, if you're opting for the DSP version of the EW300, you don't need to invest in an external DAC. So just plug into your smartphones or your computers and you're good to go. And not only that, I also love the fact that you get an inline microphone along with a button to control your music or take an end calls. Alright, so now let's talk about the sound quality of the EW300. And just like I mentioned earlier, it is a hybrid driver IEM, so you have different drivers taking care of different frequencies. So you have the dynamic driver that takes care of the bass and the lower mid frequencies. Then you have the piezo driver along with the planar driver that takes care of all the remaining frequencies falling under mids and the treble. And the overall sound signature is aligned to what Simgot claims to be their 2023 golden target, which is basically a modification to the Harman 2019 V2 target. And I'm not gonna lie, I really like this sound signature. Now the immediate thing that I noticed when I started listening to the EW300 is how much more bassy and warm they sounded in comparison to the EW200. And Simgot also provides you with an extra set of tuning nozzles along with some foam if you decide to mod your IEMs to change its sound signature. We'll definitely talk more about them in a bit, but that being said, if you decide to tweak your sound on a hardware level, it's definitely good to know that you're covered here with the EW300s. Alright, so let's dive a bit deeper into the sound quality and take a look at the frequency curves. So let's start by comparing the analog EW300 to the EW200. So as you can see, the bass and the lower mids are definitely a bit more enhanced in the EW300, and on the other hand, the upper mids have been reduced quite a fair amount, particularly the region around 4 kHz and 6 kHz. And sibilances are definitely better controlled now that you have a bigger dip around the 10 kHz region. Alright, now let's bring our EW300 DSP, and the first thing that you can see is that there's a much bigger roll-off after the 5 kHz region in this variant, and even the peaks after 8K are much more regulated. So what does all these translate to? Well, for starters, treble-sensitive listeners will absolutely adore these IEMs. Because you do not get that sparkle or shimmer around the treble, these IEMs will be less fatiguing to listen to over prolonged periods of time, even at higher volumes, and that is something I really like. Also, because of the fact that you get a lot of bass in these IEMs, bass heads will definitely find these IEMs quite appealing as well. You also get a generous amount of sub-bass rumble, something that was not present in the EW200, and the sub-bass also doesn't bleed into the mid frequencies, so that's definitely a good thing. And overall, I would say the EW300s have struck the perfect balance of bass and treble, at least to my ears. Now talking about the mid frequencies, I love the fact that you have a slight darker sound signature now with the EW300, and that basically gives both male and female vocals a lot of body and richness. Pretty much all the instruments that you can listen to, like cellos, violins, guitars, drums, and you name it, all of them sound pretty good. But the only thing I would say is that there is a slight amount of metallic timbre that you can notice sometimes, especially when listening to piano instrumentals, so keep that in mind. But that being said, the instrument separation and the spacing felt pretty decent in the EW300. You can clearly distinguish the vocals and the instruments that are being played in the background, although the soundstage I would say could have benefited from being a bit wider. The EW300 is priced pretty close to the EF500LM, and that thing has probably the widest sound signatures that I've listened to so far. But the EF500LM also has a treble that has a lot of sparkle and shimmer, and that might not be suitable for most users. So in my opinion, the EW300 would be the safer choice in this case. Now one more thing that I forgot to mention, the golden nozzles that you get with the EW300s add even more warmth to the soundstage and reduces the treble even more. So if you want even more bass, definitely use the golden nozzles with your EW300s, but I personally would stay away from the gold nozzles and I would much prefer the silver nozzles. Yes, of course you get more bass with the gold nozzles, but the treble has been rolled off in such a manner now that it kind of feels devoid of details, and I personally don't like that. Also, the soundstage kind of feels much more narrower when you use the gold nozzles, so that's that. So yeah, silver nozzles for me. Now, if you're into gaming on your smartphones or computers, the EW300 DSP would definitely be my recommendation. The tri-bit setup definitely benefits from a single dynamic driver in terms of recognizing the location of footsteps or even bullet ricochets, and having the inbuilt microphone definitely helps in competitive titles. So for most people out there, I would say skip the 3.5mm version, get the DSP version of the EW300. Sure, it costs a bit extra, but you do not have to invest in a portable DAC anymore. You can just straight away plug this into your smartphones and computers and start listening to them. The shells are not fingerprint magnets, so that's definitely a good thing. And thanks to the smooth sound signature, this is definitely a complete package. The only competition to the EW300 DSP is the Moondrop May, and I do have plans on comparing these two. So definitely subscribe if you want to see that happen. Alright, so that is pretty much it for this video, and I really hope you guys got some value out of it. The links to purchase the EW300 are there in the video description, so make sure to check it out. And for more such videos like this, you know what to do, hit that subscribe button down below. I'll see you guys in my next one, and thank you so much for watching.